Hi, welcome to the 100 Buckle book review or run through of all my king size special / annual / 100 / 80 page / whatever size books, comics. Let's just go through them. They're DC as well as Marvel. Haven't included any of the other ones. Also, my definition of 100 page probably can be argued about. This one, first one, brilliant one. Fantastic Four, issue 5. Now, this is when they were special. Had some great little stories. Black Panther, Inhumans, absolute classic story. And, of course, the Psycho Man as well. An unusual story. Also revealed a number of new plot points in the story, which was great. And also had some great pin-ups. Called her Crystal. They could have called her something else. Maybe Captivating Crystal. Because they did that, the Mysterious Triton. Maybe they could have gone for the Terrible Triton. Or Tantalising, or whatever. Karnak, the Shatterer. They always love that alliteration, didn't they? Because they went for alliteration sometimes. Magnificent Medusa. But also they had other ones as well. You've got a great one there of obviously Galactus, etc. And also included this, the Silver Surfer, Quasimodo, which was quite nice because it was before, and I think it was before, the first issue of Silver Surfer. So it was a sort of like pre-runner to that, Silver Surfer 1. And let's see what else was in it. That's it. Maybe there were some more pages. I don't know. But they did feel like specials. I mean, you included these. I've got some other ones that came back 71, 72. They sort of like weren't as special. They didn't include any pin-ups. They didn't. You could have just. That was great. You knew when you got that 25 cents. That well, obviously I didn't pay 25 cents, but time I think it was about probably 12 or 13 pence in the UK money. I don't know. I never bought them at the time, so it's possible that that was a different price. And I haven't got any stickers over it, maybe 2 shillings or something. This one, to give a clue, they're 10p. This one's a king size special, but this was 71. It's fallen to pieces, of course, Silver Surfer. But it didn't really include it. These are just reprints, as good as they are. I mean, they are excellent. But this one at least does have a few pin-ups at the back. Brilliant one, Bill Everett at the back. But unfortunately, the story, as good as it was the early Tales to Astonish, they didn't finish it off. So you just didn't know what happened in the story, unless you get, obviously, the old back issues. Very annoying, that one. That was number 1, issue 1. There wasn't, I don't know if I got Submariner 2. I think I have. I don't know if I got it in this pile. There's always one of the things I went through loads. I probably missed a few. Colt Outlaw. Now, this is not really an annual / king size / but it's a super special. And it says super special, so I included 130. It's all Colt Outlaw. Some good stories. Also got, of course, some ads as well. Rawhide Kid, Two Gun Kid, and Colt Outlaw. And they were good. I did enjoy these ones. They were great. Very interesting westerns. They produced quite a few of these western, sort of fairly sizable books, and they were always generally reprints. Fortunately, they never included the dates. It would have been nice if it said reprinted from XYZ. Never did. Just gave no clue. This was 1966. And I assume it was a reprint. I'm certain it was not done there and then. And also, actually that's quite interesting. I didn't realise that. You've got, maybe they're not reprints. I might be completely wrong, so completely ignore it if they're not reprints. They just look like reprints. It's got a letters page, but an unusual letters page, black and white. No colour. Isn't that strange? The Legend of... I'm certain they must be, with the job codes. Job codes were not in later. So you've got here 2344. That must be a very early one. I might be wrong on that, but that's Avengers number 5. Now, this was a point where they really were going slightly downhill with the specials, which is a pity. Got Spidey and thought, yeah, it's reasonable. You've got brilliant Kang one. Though, was the Kang colours like that? This doesn't look right. The colours have been, I don't know. But there's the Spider-Man story. It's still great little tales, but it's just odd. I always thought it was a really silly story. Even at the time, I thought it was a silly story. Oh, there's the colours he normally is. The green. I'm certain he was green in the originals as well. Maybe I'm wrong. But why just do one Spidey? Why not do 100 Spideys? He's got the resources. He could build any number of robots. He's got the time. He's the master of time. He can do anything he wants. He could send back Thor, Hulk, whatever. Loads of it. He could have done like the Space Phantom one where he kept on sort of introducing lots of characters. They all end up fighting with it. Anyway, just thinking up the storyline. But it just seems daft just to send Spidey back. Oh yeah, Spidey can beat the Avengers. Really? When Mandarin and all the other characters can't. And here is another brilliant special. One of my favourite specials. This one, Avengers number 1. I love this one. The Mandarin Power Man, Living Laser. An unusual selection. Why not the Melter? Still, Living Laser got into it. Swordsman, Enchantress and the Executioner. And it's a 49-page free-for-all. A real classic tale. Great story all the way through. Of course, anything with the Mandarin was great. Don't know, he doesn't turn up so often as he used to, but he was always great. Living Laser. Don't know what happened to him either. Is he still around? Maybe not. It was a really classic story. And of course, at that point you had Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, Hawkeye, and of course the original Avengers there as well. Iron Man, Thor. Just a classic. Really brilliant issue. And Herc as well. Hercules battling away against the Executioner. Truly classic. Monster shall stalk the land. And there was no extras in this. There was a few pin-ups. Few pin-ups about Hercules. And you had here more than meets the eye. I love these things. Whenever they have these sort of breakdowns showing the various things in, obviously, the Avengers building. Just brilliant. Avengers Mansion. I mean, that isn't a mansion and a half, isn't it? When you've got all these rooms, you've got video transceivers and things. They didn't have mobile phones then, but of course, that would defunct the whole thing. But a massive room just looks more impressive. Computer centre, you've got that massive computer centre. Now all reduced to a single mobile phone. I'm certain Tony Stark should have been ahead of that. He should have had mobile phones. Why didn't he have mobile phones? Anyway, Stan Lee could have had, if he'd had all those, that would have been... Of course, Star Trek did, didn't they? With obviously the... Captain America. Cap's greatest. I love this one. One of my favourite king-size specials of all time. Again, a very tatty one. Unfortunately, this was a another second-hand copy. I had bought it when it came out. Loved it. 10 pence. That was the price. The 25 cents, 10 pence. And I was willing to pay 10 pence for this sort of magazine. Just classic stories. Again, still reprints, 1970, because they were tales of... I didn't know that at the time. Tales of suspense. But again, it didn't say. Didn't say it. So the origin of Captain America. Just classic stories. It could have been the origin of the Captain America from the 1940s. I didn't know that he was from the 1940s. At that point, I would have bought it. And I would have gone, oh, yeah. You know. But you still had these war comics, the legend of World War II. I sort of had a feeling that these were World War II comics. I didn't know. Why would I? But later, obviously, I realised that I was completely wrong in that idea. But it was great little yarns. And the scientists go mad, as usual. But Bucky was in the story at this time. And it was a great one. And I loved this one. And also, it's, of course, got my favourite. Always Stan's soapbox. And also, why they don't do a... I would love to see a book of all those. The whole page, not just the Stan soapbox. They did bring out a book of that. But it would have been brilliant. Oh, it had Batroc as well. But it would have been great if they included the whole lot. It was just very, very informative of the time as well. This one, Pocket Encyclopedia of Rock and Roll, 1950 to 1963. Great stuff. Mention of that. Might be pretty tricky to find that. Anyway, that falling to pieces, that one. Hulk. Yeah, another unfortunate game, same sort of period. This one's King Size Special, issue 2. And it's got some great sort of origin of the Hulk. Though this is obviously a reprint of the story. Because it doesn't actually include much, so it just includes 3 pages. So I assume it's from this, looks like the material from the time. Though obviously reformed and reshaped. But still, and he's got Rick Jones there, bam, 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 as he's trying to break through. Great little stories though. You had the leader. The Chameleon was weird as well. Chameleon was sort of like, one of the assistants to the leader at that point. I love the origin of the leader there. Again, I always thought, but then it ruined the story, wouldn't it? The leader should have used his resources like Reed Richards to really help the world. No, he wants to rule it as usual. Why? But still, there wouldn't be any stories, would there, if everyone turned around and said, you know what, I've got this new power. Oh, I can help people. How weird would that be? And I love the bit where he goes on top priority Avengers AI ID card. Why didn't you say so? Stuff. But there were some good stories, and still it was reprints though. And that's what a lot of these ones around this time were. Afterwards, they brought out specials. They weren't as thick and chunky as this, but at least they did bring out ones that were specials with new stories, more and more. They just went for a period when they brought out a lot of reprints. Don't know why. Maybe they just, obviously the resources, I suppose they didn't have the artists. That time, of course, there's Jack Kirby had left, various other artists, I don't know. I'm not certain what the reason is. Possible. I'm certain I'll read reason why they were always reprints at some point. This one of my favourites of all time. I've said that a few times with all these ones as well. But this was a classic. This one, the drones of the Queen Bee. Drones of the Queen Bee. Obviously slightly advanced. It wasn't actually the drones in drones, flying drones, but still. The Royal Flush Gang, great story as well. And of course you've got the covers on the back. But this is the one that I loved. That's my all-time favourite. Though maybe the one with the gang one, that's quite good. I've got that one in and also had Sandman as well. Just these reprints were just amazing. At the time, I just thought, wow, I bought them all. All these 100-page ones, these were just instant purchase. The Green Lantern, all these characters. And I still, to this day, love these ones. And I've got a number of older reprints and various, and they're great. I really do. They're of their time, but they're just classic stories. Atom, of course, slightly different from the cat. All of them are slightly different. Dr. Midnight, all of them, just brilliant stories. You've got Sandman, you've got, of course, the Royal Flush Gang as well. Great little story. 100-page, 50 cents. I don't know much. 12.5p. That was just 12.5p. Was just a bargain as far as I'm concerned. Just loved that one. This one, Superman. Quite good as well. Again, it's got a number of old Golden Age ones, and lots of these did. This was the thing I liked about it. It wasn't, I didn't want always just, it's nice to have one or two new stories, nothing wrong with a new story, but it did, I think these ones didn't. I think these were all probably old ones. But also one thing that they did, which did they know? Oh yeah, it's at the top. I knew it was going to somewhere there. It did at least when they put it. Marvel didn't always do that. I wish they had. I mean, Superman 25, and that's a big clue. You look at it and go, oh, what? 1943? Wow. I didn't realise it was that long ago, kind of thing. And I would have had that same thought with Captain America if they'd just included the dates at the top. I would have gone, oh, that's right. That wasn't that old, or that sort of thing. It would have been nice. And this one, Flash Comics. And I love this period, 90. Issue 90, Flash Comics, really near the end of that sort of superhero period, the Golden Age superhero period. December 1947, and they were really good stories. Very unusual. Of course, by that time, of course, all the Nazi menace, it all stopped, but he was just battling gangs and things. I don't think there was any real extreme sort of comics, like Infinity Gauntlet kind of stuff. This was very tame things. Of course, you've got Atom there, and I think you've got the Owlman, you've got Superman there, and the Owlman story. Really, I've been enjoying, of course, the Owlman story in Stargirl. That was great. Though they didn't develop him as well as they could have done, I think. Anyway, that's an issue. Minor issue. I did enjoy the series all the same. Now this one is again, one of those good old popular ones. You've got the stamp there. And it's scribbled out the T and P. Probably was 10 pence or something, 12 pence. But this was July, and this was 1973. There were lots of them going back 1973, 74, the 100-page giants. This wasn't a 100-page special or giant particularly, but it was a fairly substantial one. And they went for a period when they produced a few of these sort of fairly thick 25-cent ones. Issue 1, the first appearance of the Defenders. Unless you count, of course, the early Submariners, etc. that sort of predated it. But it was still a great little yarn. I always felt the Silver Surfer should have been in the first issue as well. But just unusual artwork as well. Very unusual artwork. Very scratchy artwork. But I enjoyed it. It's a good little story. And, of course, it had a good old favourite. Mighty Marvel Checklist. Great selection. King Size Special there. Thor. Another one there. The Return, obviously, of Doctor Strange. And also included a lovely reprint, Submariner, and the Icebergs. Brilliant bit of Bill Everett there. Masterpiece. Boom, as it says there. But still, classic. So that's the Defenders Marvel Features #1. Again, not particularly a special, but still fairly special for me. This one's Detective Comics. And again, another selection, 100-pager, Batman, issue 440, and Ghost Mounted Midnight. Now, that was an original comic. They did feature occasionally original stories. I assume it was original. Maybe I'm completely wrong on that, but I'm certain it was. But you've also had Manhunter. I enjoyed those stories, Manhunter ones. Hawkman there, Hawk Girl. Also Letters Page, can't beat a good old Letters Page. Weird War, Weird Mystery as well. Hawkman again, I love those ones. First editions, I had those. And also that one there, Batman one. Wish I kept the famous first edition. Then, look, he got those lovely cassette tapes there. Great ones. Smokey Robinson, B.B. King, ZZ Top. Wow, ZZ Top. Oh, there we go. Dog Man. Weird, because obviously Quality Comics, I was going to say Quality Street, but Quality Comics and Green Lantern. Again, another classic, brilliant one there. Alex Toth. Loved Alex Toth's work. Even back then, you could just tell that was just the way he used everything about with Alex Toth's work has always impressed me. So you got that. You also got Batman's story there. Another, obviously, I don't know when that was. Does it say? That one's 1966. At this point, they didn't include the date, which was odd. Let's just see the Green Lantern. Obviously, I know it's Alex Toth, but no, that is strange. Some have for the dates, and then some don't. And then you've got the other biggest bargains in comics, and you've got here Young Love. I had that one. Superman Family had that one. House of Mystery, I love that one. Wonder Woman, definitely brilliant one. Batman, Mr. Miracle, and Tarzan. Might even still have that one. I've got one Tarzan. Just going to show that now. But this was great. I love these detective comic ones. They always had a feature of weird things like Atom and Dr. Midnight or whatever. There was a sort of odd selection. Tarzan, great stories. I didn't buy it for Tarzan. I think I bought it for some other stories in here. But it still had some great Tarzan stories. Brilliant artwork, of course. And then you had the other ones there. Sergeant Rock, etc. Let's have a look. Who was? I'm certain there was a bit more. Oh, you had some of these ones as well. Some old classics there. This one, does it give a date? Again, it doesn't say the date. Very strange. Rex, you've got a Rex one there. Probably Gorilla one there. Oh no, Detective Chimp. So you've got a Detective Chimp story. So right mix of the. Oh, I think that's probably it. Korak. Korak, the Star of Death. Great little tale. I thought there were some other ones that I thought I went for. Alex Nino. Obviously Joe Kubert. Always great artwork. I mean, just classic Tarzan artwork. But it wasn't the reason I bought it. I bought it for some of the other stories, to be honest. Special pin-up from the movies. Weird thing to put that. I think it's just one brief little pin-up. Why did they include that? But still, 100-page giant. You can't beat them. World's Finest. This one was quite good. I really love it. And I don't know why. Johnny Quick has never had a collection or any sort of... And they sort of touched on... There was the Quick character in the Flash series. But they never really gone for Johnny Quick. He's sort of like being the forgotten hero. And I did enjoy those because he had to say a formula, which always sounded a bit weird because he would always say it very quickly in front of me. You think... If people had sort of mobile phones, they would record it and then they would be able to say the formula back very quick. Well, that would ruin the story, wouldn't it? But that would be the problem nowadays. You'd have to sort of muffle it or sort of work out how to say it without anyone hearing him saying it. Because people could just play it back with recorders. That would defunct the story. So you've got here Superman, Secret Master. Maybe that wasn't the reason. Maybe there was some other additional bit that you had. Metamorpho. I love those ones. They were always great. Metamorpho, a bit more Metamorpho. Have I got the Johnny Quick one? It must be in here somewhere. Superman and Batman. And let's have a look. Always the way when you flick through, you can never find it. No, it is in there. It does say Johnny Quick, King of Sweden. They were great stories. Absolutely brilliant stories. And again, that was the reason I got those 100-page specials. Now, before they went for 100-page specials, they had these 80-page special giants. I think they've got some called 80-page ones. This one doesn't say 80-page, but it just say Giant G60. Obviously, they had a code. Oh, this is 217. And again, it had lots of reprints and stories, though some might be new ones. I don't know. Oh, no, it actually includes, at least it includes the dates there, July 1954. So you had a nice mix, May 1959, 1958. But they were good stories, and again, got their Batman, Sergeant Rock. Good old Superman story there. And mermaid ones, you can't beat a good old mermaid story with Superman. And the first Supergirl. And the origin of Metallo. Viking Prince. Another series of comics that have never really been particularly reprinted. They might have been, I don't know. I've never seen a complete collection. Also Silent Night and Robin Hood. There's quite a few of that sort of early 1960s, late 50s. That was Joe Kubert, and there's some good little stories, but they've never been reprinted, I don't think, in a way that would be nice. A proper collection. Maybe the Showcase book, there was a Showcase collection that came out. Maybe that includes them all, I don't know. You got that. They were good, still good yarns. Maybe not for everyone. There are no superheroes particularly in the story. The Golden Gladiator. Lots of obviously Roman action there. Doesn't particularly look Roman to me in many ways. There's bits of it that, yeah, I guess it debatable, but it's still, it was good enough yarns. So you got that one. Oh, got to sneeze. My apologies there. Justice League of America, again, another one. They had a whole batch of them around this sort of issue, about 112, 116, 117. You had, like, I think occasionally one month you might have a sort of a normal issue, but you had these. And I always loved getting this one. 60 cents. It's gone up a bit, but it was 50 cents. So you had here, and I can't read, it's 15p in the UK as well. Even that went up. So, and of course, Amazo. And let's have a look. You've got the Amazo and his creator. Oh, Seven Soldiers of Victory. I love the Seven Soldiers. There was an archive collection. Unfortunately, it was 3 volumes and they're out of print now. I did have those for a bit. I should have kept them because they're great little stories, very much of their time. They were sort of weird split stories as well. You'd have like the characters go off one story and then you have other characters do it. They never had sort of like combining. I don't know why they didn't do that. Maybe it was just the plotting. Maybe they felt that the fans didn't want that sort of battle, sort of like now when you get the Avengers, you have like a lot. Very rarely do you get them split. They do occasionally, like the Avengers Defenders when they did the split there. But not always. Most time people want those big battles. And Starman, you've got Starman and the story, as well as this one. Oh, Super Exiles. That was a good yarn. I really did enjoy that one because it was nice because they all had to sort of reveal their identity and then there was a twist at the end. Sorry for that spoiler, but it was just a great little story. And of course, you got Clark Kent using his powers to check out what was happening. Didn't they have a supercomputer where they could sort of like see all the information what was happening on Earth? They had to use spoiled Superman. Of course, Aquaman, but still, great little story. This one was a nice one. 100-page one, again, 50 cents. This one's 416, Adventure Comics, Supergirl. Now, I assume it was Adventure Comics, not Supergirl. But you've got here Wonder Woman and a number of other characters here. Of course, got reprints there. Supergirl, classic Wonder Woman reprint. Brilliant. I love those ones. Of course, now they're all in omnibus edition, or quite a lot of them are. Peters, H.G. Peters, just superb. Love that purple frame. Oh, what does the High Priestess want? This one's quite a good one. Mary, the Girl of 1,000 Gimmicks. They knew great titles back then. The Duel of the Gimmicks. And another Supergirl one as well. But nice little story. Weirdly, they had these sort of stories on the back. Phantom. Oh, did they have the Phantom Lady in this one? Might have had Phantom Lady. Yes, there was a Phantom Lady. I've complete poor old Miss Phantom Lady off the story here. It's in here somewhere. Probably about here. And you've got Johnny Thunder / Black Canary. Of course, was the first appearance of Black Canary when she was a villainess. So it was about 3 or 4 issues, I think, where eventually you established that she was not that villain. Maybe it was even after 1. Of course, you got good little stories. And another one. This one, giant again, not an 80-pager, but it's still who are the 7 Soldiers of Victory again. Probably that was the reason I bought it. Though, maybe they were featured in the story. That's very strange. The Cosmic Funhouse. That was very early Justice League of America. I love the Justice League of America. They are great little stories. They're not as brilliant, I think, as the Avengers. I was more Avengers fan, but now I appreciate these ones' stories a lot more than I did back at the time. I did buy Justice League of America, but not religiously, which I should have done perhaps. But that's one of those things. Well, I don't know why it said 7 Soldiers of Victory. Very strange because they don't seem to feature it. How odd. Who are the 7 Soldiers of Victory? Well, I'm lost on that. Maybe there was a feature or something. Just gave that suggestion that they were going to be in the story. This was a good one. Ka-Zar or Ka-Zar. Ka-Zar. Something like that. Marvel Superheroes Presents. Of course, this was the issue before the Doc Doom one. And the previous issue was, of course, Guardians of the Galaxy. I've got the Ka-Zar one. I had loads of issues of the A-Team. Got rid of them over the years when they were like 10 pence. No one wanted them. Now, of course, collectible. Super collectible. Stan Lee. Of course, again, My Father, My Enemy. Great little yarn there. And Human Torch. You can't be a good old Human Torch story. And again, that was the reason I think I probably bought it at the time. Because of the wonderful story. Now, of course, they've all been reprinted in Atlas, Marvel, etc. And there's another one here. Oh, Verdict by Magic. Brilliant bit of Bill Everett. Love. This is the thing I like about these sort of magazines. That's why I included this as a special. Just Marvel Boy. It was a great little character. Of course, Agents of Atlas. The stories there. And of course this one, Black Knight. I wish I got that still. Unfortunately I got rid of that one. The Atlas Marvel Masterworks with the Black Knight. I wish they would reprint that. That would be brilliant. You know, bring out an omnibus edition of some of those, like the Venus ones. Venus, as well as, of course, Black Knight, would be superb. And it's also got a brilliant Submariner story as well. Love that one. Up an Atom, Namor. What? I love, look at the villain there. You've got the villain. Now, that's a design for a villain. You can't beat a design like that, can you? And you've got a letters page as well. Even better. Ka-Zar, number 19. No, I don't know what it was featuring. Let's have a look. Oh, 17, Black Knight story. They're obviously going on about that. Black Knight, and... Oh, it's all about Black Knight. There were some good ones. I wish they'd continued this. Then they went reprint. And they still kept the same size, if I remember. I think it was Daredevil. Might have been called... There might have been the Daredevil stories. But they went reprints. And I just thought, what a missed opportunity. They were great, these stories. I loved them. Avengers. Yes, another classic. Of course, the original Avengers versus the Avengers plus virtually everyone else in the Marvel Universe. Great, you've got that classic story where they're battling away with all the various Skull. I'm not certain who's the Skull. Why Sandman's in the picture with the Skull. Radioactive Man, the whole lot of them, all in it. Of course, another brilliant one there. The Hulk King Size Special. Not one of my favourite stories, but what a cover. Iconic cover, that one. Just a real brilliant, but a great issue. And also, of course, it's got the Avenger assembly. It's very odd. Sgt Fury and his Howling Commandos. King's Eye Special. This one's number 5. The Fangs of the Desert Fox. And I assume these were reprints. They look like reprints from the earlier period. So you got some really great little stories. Court Martial of Sgt Fury. But still, actually it was quite a substantial one. This was, when was it? 1969. Oh, it says copyright 1964. So 1969, they were still putting fairly decent ones out. I think 1970, 71, they went downhill a bit. And I just loved these sort of ones. They were just great. Twice as many pages, twice as many thrills. And it was 2 shillings still in UK money. And 25 cents in American. Included this as well. Fantasy Masterpiece. They're just classics. I just love these ones. Even though, of course, now they've reprinted them 20,000 times better. Though a lot of people might disagree and prefer them in this format because, of course, they've got the original colours, whereas, of course, the omnibus editions, Atlas editions, whatever, Marvel Masterworks, they're not the same. And it's nice to see them, but they are quite unusually reprinted. But some of them, of course, are brilliant. I love that Christmas tree bit. He's made us a Christmas tree. And, of course, you've got classic Submariner. Just love this one. This is a great little story. Prince Namor, Submariner. Originally published in Marvel Mystery, at least they included that, January 1940. Really good story. It looks like it was tweaked around a bit. I don't know. Maybe. You had that story, Punishment, Strange Tales, oh, Captain America as well. Just great little stories. Just love those ones. They were really unusual bits of artwork, but they just had power and intensity that they would never do it like this now. I mean, look, some of the scenes there, it just wouldn't happen. And look at Cap there in his baseball hat. Just great stuff. And of course you've got, I love these hobby kits at the back. Spidey there. And another one, Fancy Mark. These are all very tatty. You can see they're very tatty editions, but they feature much the same. Very poor quality one, this one. You've got It, the thing, Captain America, issue 4. You've got Captain America, issue 4. Obviously the Menace of Dr. Grimm. I wonder when he used that one again. I never really thought about that, Dr. Grimm. So obviously maybe it's a relative of Ben Grimm. Who knows? We also got some other stories here, and of course got another Captain America. I think these were all Captain America. Yes, it was all Captain America in this one. Ivan the Terrible. Good little story there. Oh, it's very water damage, this one. Very water damage. More thrills and melodrama for early days of comics in our next big brassy issue, nostalgia-filled issue. They knew how to sell that comic back then. This one, another one, Brave and the Bold. Great little story again. It's got good old couple of things, the Challengers. You've got Solomon Grundy versus Dr. Fate and Owlman. Probably that was a Brave and the Bold. Also Viking Prince, which I suppose was Brave and the Bold as well. So you got there those stories. Let's have a look, see if I can find. You got the Dr. Fate one. That was obviously 60s. Dr. Fate, Our Man, Dr. Fate, Our Man. Oh, I think they're all. And then you got the origin of the Viking Prince. So you got some reprints of those. Brilliant artwork. Brilliant artwork. I'm not so certain about the stories. They're fine, but it's not probably for everyone. Dr. Fate, oh, an Atom as well. Classic Atom. Now, probably most people wouldn't include this as special, but to me, it's a special Night Nurse. It's the full-on, all the Night Nurse stories, all in one. So you've got this story, Night Nurse 1. Great stories. Linda Carter's story. One of the central characters of the Marvel Universe, certainly of course, the TV series. There was a lot of Linda Carter at one point. I don't know why they haven't reintroduced Linda Carter. She was a great little character. It was nice to see a common character come. Maybe now with the She-Hulk, which I'm looking forward to on Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? I think it's Wednesday. It's coming out. I think it'd be lovely to see Night Nurse back, Linda Carter back. But there's obviously slightly different Night Nurse, but still Night Nurse in the story. And they had a lovely Gothic story, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Issue 4. They went and did a sort of very completely different one. It sort of completely changed the whole story. So you've got Night Nurse 4, which is going off there, secret of the sea cliff. I don't even think it was Night Nurse herself. Obviously red hair, unless it was Christine Palmer. So you've got Christine Palmer goes off, the betrayal of Dr. William Smith Sutton. Classic old, I mean, it was a standard Gothic novel. Whenever they do them, and you know, places that have got a sort of haunted house sort of slash place, and it's right next door to cliffs. You know how the story's going to end. I don't have to tell anyone how the story's going to end. It's not going to end. But the next story was great, and you got a Daredevil one. So that was it was nice they included that. Linda Carter as well. So a lovely little collection, of course, an advert for Daredevil. And I really loved the Daredevil, and I'm really pleased that hopefully Daredevil is coming back. It'd be nice to see Daredevil going. They were just great. I loved the appearance, of course. Oh, anyway. That was just classic. Another one, Tarzan. This one, again, I probably didn't get for the Tarzan story. Great as they are. But I think there was something else I got it for. Was that included? Or maybe I'm confusing myself. It's very strange. No, it was all Tarzan. Anyway, I must have some other ones around. Because I bought one that had a number of Castle of Venus. And I haven't seen that one. Okay. It's probably tucked away somewhere else. Daredevil and X-Men. This was an unusual one. Ka-Zar again. But it was a sort of one-off Ka-Zar. It wasn't a sort of... But this one, of course, had the original, which, of course, was very different from what happened with Ka-Zar later. It was the most unusual story. But, of course, I don't know why they had to change it. It baffled me. They could have done a Ka-Zar story from all the way back from the 1930s. But somehow Ka-Zar, because he was living in the Savage Lands, he could have, or Hidden Lands, whatever it was, the world that time forgot, he could have lived longer. And that would have been the way around it. They could have had the same character. And that would have been quite nice. Instead of introducing another Ka-Zar or Ka-Zar, Zabu. Just didn't see the point in that. Still. Great little tale. And let's just get through. And this one was odd because it's called Ka-Zar, featuring Daredevil and X-Men. It's unusual that it includes Daredevil. Well, it does include the Daredevil story at the back, but it was an unusual mix the way they did it because they didn't mention the one thing that was new in this, which is odd. That's what always struck me as odd. Daredevil and X-Men. There's a completely fresh, unusual story that I don't think, and it might be now, I don't know, maybe there's a copy somewhere, has ever been reprinted. In the footsteps of the Huntsman of Zeus. It's a Hercules story. Now, maybe it's been reprinted in some Hercules complete collection or something. Maybe. But you've got the Avengers. Looking very odd. Very odd at looking Avengers. Of course, Goliath there. And Zeus. Thy father I shall be obeyed, etc., etc. Not a very long story. And I don't think it was finished off. I think it was the next story. But you had the Avengers here again. You got, of course, Vision and Scarlet Witch. All the characters. And Black Panther. But it's just an odd... one of those Avengers stories that I don't think it's been sort of forgotten about as an Avengers story. This is an Avengers story. And yet it's tucked away in this magazine and wasn't even included on the cover. Avengers, featuring Daredevil, X-Men and the Avengers would have been a bigger selling point maybe. than Daredevil and X-Men, especially since the X-Men, by this time, had lost their magazine. Seemed odd pointing that out. And of course, finale of all these, the classic, probably greatest annual of all time, maybe other than Spider-Man 1 and the Avengers, Fantastic Four #1. But I think this one is just a classic. I love this one. The Wedding of Sue and Reed, issue 3, 1965, when annuals were annuals. I mean, look at the cover. It just featured everyone and everyone, anyone and everyone. Just a lot. And also it featured other stories as well, which is even better. You had a brilliant story, Spidey, all these guys. Some of these characters, and there's quite a few characters, you look at and think, they didn't even appear. I don't think Sgt Fury. Why is Sgt Fury there? Doesn't appear in the... certainly doesn't appear. There's other characters as well. I think Wizard. There's Wizard there. I don't think Wizard appears in it. But they included him on the cover. That's always they did that, didn't they? Of course, you had Doctor Doom. Now, weirdly, yes, Doctor Doom's right down the bottom. Now, he doesn't, of course, go to the wedding, but he's still featured in the bit where he's just going to get blasted by Cyclops. I never understood that. There's one thing that always bugged me in comics. Why the covers never match the in part. I mean, I know they've got to sell it and all that sort of stuff, but if you're going to do a story, why have Doctor Doom on the front if he doesn't actually appear in the scenes? Made no sense to me. Never has. But this one's great. Catered by the bullpen. I mean, did they sort of bring in cakes or something and drinks? I guess that was good. Yeah, the Mandarin was called to... must not miss the wedding. I mean, why? He never battled the Fantastic Four. So I'm in a voice. And you've got Black Knight, of course. You've got the Mad Thinker. For some weird reason, he's taken his anger out on a lamppost. Why? Some who you may have forgotten is bashing the lamppost in. What a use for a thing. A Grey Gargoyle, least favourite character. Never liked, but I love that one. Look at that scene. He's standing there. And there's the beat. It's almost too easy. Who could ever stand up to, and of course, we know who can stand up. You've got all these people blasting away. One character, Cyclops. Avengers assemble and everyone piles in. Classic. Absolute classic. If you've never read The Wedding, sorry for a few spoilers there, it's just the best story ever. You must have read it. Must have read it by now. I can't believe that anyone watching this has not read this issue, because this is one of the classics. 72 big pages as well. This one, Captains of the Deadly Duo. Great reprints. These were quite decent reprints. I love the fact maybe that would be a collector's item, wouldn't it? If you could get, him, they'd probably weigh a ton. That would not be easy to lift up. But still, subby there. And of course, Sue Storm. Great story. And also some more annuals, of course. The classic Doctor Strange one there. Issue 2. Marvel Tales. King size. Again, king size annual. That was weird when they called it an annual. King size annual. Maybe by that time Marvel Tales was not a regular issue. But Thor, brilliant one. That one. King size special. I remember seeing that in shop. And that was one that I saw and it was like crazily expensive. And I thought, oh my, comics were expensive. And back then it was very expensive. I think it was £5 or something. To me, I bought most of my comics at about 5 pence. So I thought, that's a bit, one of the classic Visit with Fantastic Four. Masterpiece. Love that one. One of the stories I've read so many times. I loved when you bring in the letter. It felt like that they were actually existing. I know they weren't, but it was still, when I was a kid, I just loved it. And also the origin as well. Getting a redoing it. I mean, what a cheap way of doing it. Just redo the origin. But it still was great. And I loved it. I loved it. And also it had the Impossible Man as well. Great character. Certainly when it first appeared. Got a bit annoyed afterwards. But that's it. One of the best art. That's why I thought I must end on Fantastic Four 3. Gone through all of them, and I'll probably find a couple more. Always will. But it's still a great collection of different... These are really worth checking out. You can find them reasonably priced. Issues like this, shouldn't pay much more than £3 or £4, £5, £6 for some of these issues. I'm quite certain you can find them at comic conventions, even now, or online. They do turn up. So they're really worth checking out, especially really capture me. And there was ones that I've got rid of over the years, the Patsy and Heddy ones and those sort of things. These now, of course, they're coming out in like omnibus editions. So it's nice to be able to pick them up. But still, I loved all these ones, and that's the whole run through of all these classic 100 pages, 80 pages, whatever. Hope you found this of interest. Bye.